Games, Brains and Head-Banging Life here with another track by track as we go back to the early dark days of Cradle of Filth, the debut studio album, The Principle of Evil Made Flesh, released 24th of February 1994 through Caphonius, I don't say that, Caphonius Records.
Through someone who probably doesn't exist anymore.
Yes. So yeah, the debut album, Cradle of Filth, obviously a band beloved by both of us here at GBHBL. It has been a very long time since I've listened to this album in full. However, certain tracks on it not only get regular airplay, but the updated variations from bitter suits to
Bittersweets to Succubi.
Thank you very much. Yes, I recognise often more than the original sort of ones, like the Black Goddess 2 is way more familiar to me than the Black Goddess Rises. Yeah. But yeah, we get to start with, as always, an introduction with Cradle of Filth. This one is Darkness Our Bride, Juggler Wedding. Cradle do great intros. They really do. The one off Midian is one of my all-time favourites. Yeah. However, this is, while it nails the gothic feel that this album has all the way through, for me, it's a forgettable intro.
I kind of came at this from two different angles, right? So one, I agree with you.
Yeah.
And then the other one, I don't. But I'll explain why. But the first one, it's very Cradle, and it's kind of what you expect. And I think, like, I didn't really fall in love with it listening back to it. But I did write down, if this was my first time ever hearing this band, having just picked up their debut album, I would definitely be intrigued by this intro.
Ooh.
You know, so I think sometimes, like, it's because we're looking back at knowing all what comes later. We're, like, measuring that up to Midian. Do you know what I mean? Which is the right thing to do, but I was just thinking, like, what would I have felt like picking, like, you know, oh, look, I'm intrigued by this cover. I'm going to buy this album. That's the first thing I hear. I'm definitely listening on. I'll tell you that.
I do agree with you now. If in a bubble, as a horror fan, that gothic horror score is perfect for me, you know? Yeah. We then get Principle of Evil Made Flesh, obviously a Cradle classic. The moment those guitars and drums hit, it excites. Old school black metal, with that Cradle touch of gothicness laid in the background, a very memorable track and a showcase of just how good this band could be. Great way to start the album with this.
Yeah, it is. You know, I'm going to the obvious, which is because it is old, but man, it does sound old.
Oh yeah.
This old album, but weirdly though, because it's black metal, that's okay.
Yeah.
Because if nothing, it just makes it sound more traditional.
Just call it old school black metal, innit?
Yeah, this is a proper true black metal.
Yeah.
I found it weird, I guess, like, especially as Cradle came on after that. But like Danny is quite far back in the mix on a lot of the songs on this. He's not like the one at the forefront with the music behind him. It's like the music is more there. But I really like that. Just loads of simple riffing, speedy drums as Danny yaps away like a nutter. It's brilliant. Yeah, really enjoyed the song.
Excellent. We're going to be a lot of this, I think, because Forest Whispers My Name is one of my favourite Cradle tracks. Really leans into that gothic elements. Very evil sounding, plinky plonky keys, guitar squills. I love this track.
Yeah, it was one of my. It was definitely one of my favorite songs back in the day. I think it might have been my favorite song on this album.
Mm-hmm.
It still sounds great. I think it still sounds fantastic, even being that old. I like that this is the first track on this album. So again, it's the first time you're listening to Cradle where you get that darker side of Danny. You know, the deeper voices when he's doing almost that spoken kind of. It's not quite spoken, but you know.
No growl.
Yeah. And I love some of the lyrics in it. Even though, like, you know, probably when I was younger, I didn't even know what half of it meant. Like lines like "in the dank odoriferous earth."
Yeah.
And I'd be like, I'm singing that, getting that tattooed to me. But no, it's a fantastic song, man. And like what you said basically about when they mix the guitars and keys, it's just brilliant. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's what makes them stand out amongst that pack of black metal during that period as well.
Yeah.
Iskara. This is a track I admit I rarely listen to, but I kind of just see it more now as a bit of an intermission, a super gothic intermission, and I really like the heartbeat sound effect that's going on. You know, it's fine basically.
Yeah, I'm the same. Yeah, it is just it's an interlude of sorts. I kind of, it's not, I don't think it's meant to be, but I kind of always felt like this was the part one of what's coming next.
Right.
Especially as like it ends with that heartbeat, and then the next track starts off with the organ kind of going at the same pace to it. So
That's
yeah,
really
it's
well inspired, man. That's
yeah.
really well inspired. Jesus. Well, talking of which, then, it is Black Goddess Rises, one of my all-time favorite Cradle tracks, the perfection of early Cradle, combining visceral savagery with elements of beautiful horror. The slow death march that leads into the hyper burst just works so well, and the big epic segment is one of my all-time favorite Cradle moments.
Yeah. I mean, it's everything that you said basically. It's brilliant. I love it. Everything about it. You know, the female vocals, the switch, the big kind of switch up in the end of it. It is a classic Cradle song. I think everyone kind of recognizes it as that. But like, you know, for absolutely the right reasons. There's no nostalgia about it or anything like that. It is just a brilliant track. Interested, like now that you know, listening back to it, do you prefer this to the second, or do you prefer the second?
I prefer this because of the roar of Phil, because obviously Bittersweet Suits, that has a high production value.
Yeah.
So you get, it sounds, stick, like the term I used to say, it sounds sticky, like stickier, yeah. Whereas this rawness, I prefer this. The rawness just sounds so much better.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah.
I think this is much, yeah, it's brilliant.
Yeah. One final Graven Kiss. Again, bit of an intermission, but I really like this. The distant sound and keys, increasing intensity, really dark, really pretty.
Yeah, I'm the same. I really like it as well. I think it's great. And I think like the thing with Cradle, especially looking back now, is like we know that their albums aren't a collection of 10 songs or whatever. It is a theatrical performance as such. And I don't know, man, if it was another band, you know, maybe differently, and you were going like, oh, every 3 songs is an interlude, you might feel differently about it. But it all kind of adds to what Cradle tried to create in like the, you know, the show that they're putting on in this the story they're telling.
Yeah.
So for that, even when I'm not like in love with an interlude, I always feel like it's right to be there. It's part of the story. Do you know what I mean? But having said all that, I do think this one's great. You know.
What we got then? Crescendio of Passion Bleeding. For me, probably the most standard fare Cradle track in the album. It has all the right elements, and I think the drums are the best thing about it, full stop. But this is one, I'm not going to remember. It wasn't one I remembered well before, and even afterwards, like, I'm probably not going to remember this long afterwards.
Yeah, I'm pretty similar as well, to be honest. Good song, not great, not good. Again, highlighted the drums. I think they're fantastic.
Yeah.
Lots of keys, nice and fast, and a big fan of the mixed vocals at the end, where he does like the mixture of the higher and the deeper kind of vocals layered over each other.
Yeah. So there's still positives to say about it, even when it's...
Oh yeah. I mean, that's the worst song on the album so far, and it's great.
Yeah. Actually, Africa actually is the worst song overall, but there you go. To Eve, the Art of Witchcraft, whoosh, like an explosion in your face. This track just bursts forth and only lightens the intensity with the background keys. The riffs, I find the riffs a bit more traditional heavy metal here. Like, you know, that traditional heavy metal kind, rather than black metal, you know?
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I was gonna say, but Cradle were always like that. But then this was their first album, so no one knew that, did they? But yeah, I think this is great. It's another one of my favorites on this album. I think the creepy fucking organ is cool.
Yeah,
I love like, you know, when Danny or the band kind of bring the symphonic elements in anyway, and they use organs quite a lot across, or even their latter albums, and it works so well for this band. Like organs with Cradle of Filth's hand just become this creepy fucking tool, man.
Yeah.
I like the instrumental section. I like the female vocals. Just like, you know, I love it all. It does that thing that I love in Cradle songs, and many of the Cradle songs that came later. You know, the big hitters, man, where it's like the female spoken vocals that start to grow, drums join in, bass, guitars, then bang, Danny comes in out of nowhere, and it's like, oh man, that is just ear candy.
Yeah, ear candy. Of Mist and Midnight Skies. I started off a bit sarcastic here, but I wrote, "Oh, look how spooky we are." Forgive me, I do love the song.
Is that to do with the organ?
Yes.
At the
The
beginning.
organ style intro is a little over the top, but it's a Cradle epic. One of the more advanced efforts that has so many chops and changes that it's very unique for the album without sounding any way out of theme or out of place.
Yeah, again, another one I really like. I didn't take the piss out of the organ, but I did mention it because it is really prominent. It's just got, like you said, really, it's got a load of stuff going on in it, but like it flows really well.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't feel messy or anything like that, but you've got everything that we kind of came to know and love about Cradle all kind of makes an appearance in this song. Whether it's different types of vocals and speedy sections, slowed down sections, symphonic sections. It's just brilliant. It's great. Really, really good song.
I ended up thinking it was like they had 4 or 5 leftover parts of other songs. And they were like, right, we've got this, put it together, make one song. And they were like, well, that just sounds shit. Because obviously it's all doing parts. And then because they're talented, they basically worked out how to bridge all of them together so it sounds like a complete track. Yeah.
Yeah.
In Secret Love We Drown. This is a weird one in that it's basically a peaceful babbling Brook style intermission. It's not like horrible to listen to, but it's the one where I'm like, that's out of place.
Yeah, whereas I didn't mind this because I always saw this myself as the outro to I've Missed Midnight Skies.
Of course.
So, and that's really, I think, what Cradle do with the song. So, and especially because like you're going to bring up in a second, like we go almost 2 intermissions in a row now.
Yeah.
But I think that's what it's kind of, it's not listed that way. So there's no reason for anyone to think that. And I may be wrong. But I always thought this is the outro of the previous song, and the next one is the intro of the following song.
You know what? I think now you're saying that, and the more now, particularly as we got to this point, what you say makes so much. Not only does it make sense, it's sense I want it to be. I want that to be right, because then it's like, oh shit, all of this makes perfect sense.
It's a story, isn't it? You know, and Danny and the band, we know, like, if nothing else, they've always been skilled at telling a story.
Yeah.
And there would be no reason to stick that in there unless it was part of the story. And it can't be part of the following intermission, so it can only be part of the previous bit.
When you look at the title of the next two, Dreams of Wolves and Snow and Summer Dying Fast, there's certainly a link there alone.
Yeah.
Right, Dreams of Wolves and Snow then, 2 minutes, as I already said, it's another intermission. Super gothic keys and drums. I like it, though. I like it.
So do I. I like it a lot. Yeah, it's really good. It's quite intriguing. It's got a little bit of a interesting feel, like, oh, what's going on here? Sort of thing to it. A bit of spoken word in it as well, which is quite cool.
It is. And it leads to what I reckon is one of the more hidden Cradle tracks. Maybe better known now because it appeared on Bitter. But Summer Dying Fast is honestly one of those not talked about enough great Cradle tracks. I love this track. Fast, heavy, spoken word, gothic moments. Love it.
Yeah, same. No, I have no complaints about this song at all. I think it's a fantastic track to kind of end the album on. It's just it's an epic. It's also the only song on the album to have a solo, which is like, yeah, it's solo. But yeah, it's just brilliant. It all kinds of comes together as well. It's a bit like a puzzle, and being like the kind of big ending and the ending of a story. It's like that final chapter of a book with all these different elements and different layers of music all coming in to just create this last minute or two in that song, which just just closes it all off. It just like seals the deal. It's like, yeah, story told, the end.
Yeah,
kind of.
Well, we do have Untitled, but it's an outro. It's just an outro.
Yeah, there's a minute of silence as well, though, in there, and then you get a hidden track, which is called Imperium Tenebrarum. But it's fine, actually. It didn't need to be a hidden track, really. They could have just left it on the album because it's just a very, very short spoken, creepy prayer.
Yeah, just a way to say out the album, yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, you could have just as easily had that in there, and like that was the outro to Summer Dying Fast, and it would have worked just as well, to be honest with you.
It's way more forgivable than what we're used to when it comes to silences and then the bit.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. All right. Well, this will be a tough one then. The 3 tracks, man.
Okay, so my favourite, Forest Whispers My Name. Number 2, Black Goddess Rises. And number 3, To Eve, The Art of Witchcraft.
Wow.
And in this one, it is tough because if somebody said add a couple more to that, I could easily.
Yeah, definitely. All right, I think. Yeah, all right. Forest Whispers My Name, Black Goddess Rises, and Of Mist and Midnight Skies. Particularly as well, now I know that In Secret Love We Drown is part of it, so I can check that and add that at the end, innit?
I've improved it for you. It's a very good album, man. Very good.
Oh, it holds up, man. It holds fucking, even though it sounds dated, because it's black fucking metal, as you said.
You got to remember as well, this is like, you're talking 6, 7, 8 years before all of these new metal albums we're talking about.
Yeah, 26 years ago.
This held up longer, like much better than a lot of them albums, the 2000 albums did.
Agreed. Cradle of Filth, The Principle of Evil Made Flesh. Let us know what you think of it in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. You can check us out on gbhbl.com as well as on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and Tumblr. Go to Patreon and help us out over there. That's patreon.com/gbhbl, as well as Big Cartel, where you can find some of our merchandise. We have a podcast running on SoundCloud and Apple Podcasts. And of course, if you like this video, do us a favour, hit the subscribe button and help the channel grow. Games, horror and heavy metal. What else is life for?